Yeah, study too much. That's probably why I can say this. I don't think good grades always equate to a certain level of intelligence or, again, how successful you're going to be in the future. It's got zero bearing on how successful you're going to be.
Hey everyone, before we begin this next episode of the Hello Mentor podcast, I just want to say if you're job searching or hiring, check out hiredly.com. We are not just another job platform. We make it easier to find the jobs that people actually want, and we help companies stand out to hire the right talent. So there's a lot of smart tech and there's a lot of human touch. That's Hiredly. So you can head to hiredly.com and give it a go. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Hello Mentor podcast. We have Kai with us from the Kenny Hills Hospitality Group. Thank you, Kai, for joining us today. I'm a big fan, by the way, as I mentioned to you before. If you could just quickly describe in your own words, what is Kenny Hills Hospitality Group?
Well, right now, we're a multi-brand food and beverage hospitality group. We do obviously bakeries, cafes, restaurants, typically food outlets, so food and beverage physical retail outlets. And now we've started doing a lot of contract catering, event services, and wholesale manufacturing.
Right. Well, you expanded quite a lot. I mean, a lot of people would know you as the cafe, I suppose. Right. But when did this evolution sort of like take place?
I think very naturally, probably started maybe 5-6 years ago. Just when people, I mean, we've always had, it obviously started with the wholesale manufacturing side, which is very natural, especially if you're doing maybe commoditized products that other people need to use.
Right.
So prints, bakery products, coffee, etc. We'd also have restaurants and cafes and hotels reach out, do you supply? In the first few years, obviously we didn't, because I think the production was a bit of a bottleneck for us.
Right.
And then maybe 5-6 years ago, when we moved into a larger space, we started being able to do it. So it started with that. It didn't start with us coming up with the idea from the very beginning. It's just a very natural growth. And then events and catering obviously is another natural kind of avenue. So that we started doing that. And then we started formalizing it and wanting to brand it and doing more of it last year.
I see. Right. So in some sense, like obviously you attracted that demand, but you couldn't deliver on it in the early days, and now you can, right? Right. And then I suppose that comes from the fact that it's the perception of the brand and everything, right? And I, when we kind of like, specifically you, right, Kai, we sort of researching your background, we found that you studied sports medicine.
I was reading that. I was like, how do you find that out? Because I try to keep that a very well hidden secret.
Everything's on the internet, Kai, like you can find it.
What's that? I don't know where. I don't know who I've told or where. Anyways, yes. Funnily enough, that was my background.
Right.
Well, when I was coming out of college, I was always into sciences. I was always into kind of biology, healthcare a little bit, and I've always been very active. So one avenue was, okay, maybe I want to just go straight into medicine. But coming out of 11 years of Chinese school and then, A-levels, which is technically, I guess, 13 years in total, just hardcore study when you're at Chinese school. That's all you do. That's your life. You study, and then after school, you study again.
Right.
And then your extracurricular is more study. Right. So when I was looking at medicine, the idea of, okay, now I have to commit another, 7, 8, maybe 9 years or plus into hardcore study.
Right. Yeah.
And at the back of my head, would I actually see myself working in medicine for a long term? Naturally, probably not. I've always been very interested in food. I think I've grown up around food.
Right.
Through my grandparents, my extended family, so my aunts and uncles, my parents as well.
Right.
We've always been very food centric, and some of them, my parents had food businesses in the 90s. My extended family had food businesses also in the 90s that are still around today. My grandma loves cooking, loves entertaining, loves bringing guests and having a lavish spread around the table. So I've always grown up around a lot of eating and a lot of socializing and events around food.
Right.
So I think naturally I've been very inclined towards food in a way. So when I was younger, I wanted to be a lot of things. I wanted to be like a professional tennis player, and then I wanted to be a chef for a short while. Then I wanted to be a DJ. But I guess highlighting on the chef part, I worked in professional kitchens for a short amount of time.
Right.
Realized that within food, if I were to go into food, being in the back of house probably wasn't gonna be for me. Very, very tough job. When we try to celebrate the people who do it, because it's not easy. It's long hours. You're working weekends, you're working public holidays, you're on your feet, not sitting down in an aircon room. You're on your feet in a hot kitchen with flames, orders go wrong, customers complain, supplier didn't send something, drain is blocked today, sink doesn't work, water issue, electricity issue. So there's a lot of issues that chefs face in the back of the kitchen.
All right.
So I quickly realized I wasn't gonna do that. So I was still keen on the idea of food, but then I knew, okay, it wouldn't be in the capacity of a chef, although I love the art of, cooking and culinary and all that stuff. So again, going back into the medicine thing, with all that in my mind, I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do medicine if I know I'm not going to be doing it long term. If I'm going to be killing myself for the next, whatever it is, 7, 8, 9 or so years, only to come out, do it for a little bit, and then potentially come back into food, or commerce or retail, which I really enjoy. So because of that, I took like a shortcut, no offense to all the people who study sports medicine. And I did that, yeah.
Right.
So it's 3-4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, no, that makes sense. So it's like it's kind of a bit of a risk, right? You study something for 9 years, and you might come out with like, you know what, I don't like this, right?
Yeah. And I knew I wasn't interested or passionate enough about medicine to really, really excel.
Right. But just out of curiosity, that's just my personal curiosity. Was any reason why specifically sports medicine?
I grew up playing competitive sports as a kid. I still am very, very active.
Right.
So sports has always been a big part of my life.
I see.
And I felt that if I did do that, even if, and 99% chance, I won't continue practicing as a profession, at least it's something that's applicable in my life.
Right.
And in the lives of most of the people around me, because most of the people I know are active.
I see. Right. Got it.
So it's more of a self-help degree.
Or it's help to help yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, you get injured, I kind of know what to do.
Oh, right. And at what point do you sort of think that, I'm going to just rejoin my family business? Was it after, like,
2 years in, so it was a 4-year degree.
Right.
I don't think I've said this public, but 2 years in, I wanted to quit because I really hated it.
Right.
Yeah, right. Really, really, really hated it. Right. It was very nice living there in the Netherlands. Great people.
Right.
Great kind of student culture.
Right.
Because I lived in a very small city, 2 hours north of Amsterdam. It's called Groningen.
Nine.
Very, very small student city. So you're either a student in your late teens, early 20s, mid 20s if you're doing masters, or you're like 50 years old. So there was no in between.
Oh.
And the culture was amazing. But I think 2 years in, I kind of realized that it wasn't for me. And it took the beginning of third year. I still remember so distinctly. The beginning of third year, I was sitting in the back of the class, and we were all doing like some, not exercises, but some therapy kind of maneuvers or whatever.
Sure.
I just sat there, or like I stood there thinking like, the hell am I doing? Because I was sitting at the back of the class, so I was looking at everyone. I was looking at everything in front of me.
Right.
I could see everyone doing what they're doing. I was like, this is, I hate this. So that's when it started kind of registering for me, and I started skipping a lot of class. I started skipping a lot of class my first semester. I think in my mind, I kind of decided, okay, I'm going to quit.
Right.
But long story short, I had that conversation with my parents. They didn't let me quit. I stayed on for another 2 years.
Right.
But yeah, that's when it started.
I see, right. That was sitting back of class and you kind of stared at everyone's like, I don't belong in this.
Yeah, and I physically shook my head. I was like physically shaking my head. I said, I hate this. And all my friends knew, all my friends knew, so it's okay.
Right. Oh, but your parents made you complete it.
Yeah. I kind of made the mistake of calling my mom at 6 p.m. local Dutch time, which was at the time 1 a.m. Malaysian time.
Sure.
So I called her and I said, hey, I want to quit and come back. I just thought of what. And then she cried a little bit. Nothing crazy but I think being Asian parents, I guess the idea was, okay, no, you have to finish it. You're kind of halfway through. You've committed so much time and effort and energy into it. You're there. Just see out the next 2 years.
Right.
So I did. And those following 2 years ended up being a very, very big, enjoyable part of my life.
Oh, right.
It was
Right.
super fun.
Right. Is it because on some level you know you can quit after this, so you're more relaxed? Through the last 2 years.
Well, not really. Maybe subconsciously, but I always just, I guess, had enough fun. And yeah, I stayed around in Europe for a little bit longer, so I managed to visit places that I would not have otherwise had the chance to visit.
Right. Right. Was it like living there? I mean, I'm asking more because I actually I spent a lot of time in London last time, but it was a very like they speak English and it's a very it's a all kinds of people out there, a very diverse environment. But the place you described, I imagine not so much, right? It's mostly just Dutch people. So do you speak Dutch? Or you have to speak Dutch?
I wish I did, but I don't.
Right.
We were forced to go through, because I was in the international course.
Right.
So all my friends were internationals. We were one Dutch guy out of maybe 200 people, but everyone speaks English.
Oh, I see.
Everyone's from all over the world,
Right.
From places in Europe like Spain and Italy and the UK, of course. Your places from the Caribbean, you're from Asia, like we had Korean students, we had people from the Middle East, people from Turkey, all over. So you learn and, I guess, touch on a lot of different cultures.
Right.
Right. But everyone speaks perfect English. The Dutch speak perfect English.
Great.
Yeah.
Right. So even outside of the class, everyone.
Oh yeah, I mean people speak better English there than they do here.
Oh, right. Oh, right. Okay. Oh, interesting. Right. Okay.
Oh, but everyone's very tall.
Everyone- right. Tall and speaks English also. So when you first came back, so once you completed the course and you came back to Malaysia, like you rejoined straight away, is it more or less?
Yeah, I actually came back just before COVID.
Right.
So pretty fresh, 6 years,
All right.
5. But I started on and off in my 4th year already,
I see.
because the last year was an internship year,
Right.
and I knew I wanted to come back to Malaysia for it. I definitely didn't want to work abroad for that. I wanted to be closer to home, I guess closer to what was then a still very small family fit out.
Right.
At the time we only had maybe 2 or 3 outlets, so very, very, very small. It wasn't a business that in my head I knew I would come back into straight away, because it was very, very small.
Right. Right.
So there were so many potential avenues.
right.
At the back of my head, I was exploring doing things on my own as well, but I knew that would take time. So the idea was just to come in and work in the family business for a little bit, see how it goes, see how the business grows, if anything, and I guess learn skills and then see where that takes me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you saw that kind of early expansion, right? So when you kind of like went back into the business about 3, is it 2 or 3 kind of like
Probably 3, but
Three, right.
definitely not more. I think number 4 was actually 2 minutes down the road.
oh right, right, TTI, all right.
Page 3 TTI, that was number 4. I think that opened that was 2020.
Right.
So it's 5 years now. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Would you face any challenges when you first kind of like rejoined the business?
No, really. I think naturally coming into the workforce in an industry that you haven't worked a lot in has the natural challenges. Just understanding the industry, understanding the market, understanding the internal challenges of staffing.
Right.
Because F&B food is a very labor-intensive business.
Yeah.
So you require a lot of hands, you require a lot of people. So those were the challenges you kind of have to navigate a little bit. And the baking is very, very challenging in its own right. All the normal stuff, I think. Yeah, nothing that really stood out.
Right. And when you were there, and obviously there's like 3 branches and all that, and at the time you're still kind of thinking, do you do your own thing? It wasn't really a big operation yet.
No.
Right. Yeah. Was there a moment you sort of thought like, oh, you know what, this is a thing. I'm gonna do this now. What was that moment?
Just ended up getting too busy in it.
Right.
And then you just find yourself deeper and deeper in it, and you can't pull yourself out. That sounds bad, but that's true, because you end up being so busy, you just keep working on it,
Right.
and then it just takes a big part of your life, and then you learn to enjoy it. But I was never forced into it. My parents never forced me into it. I was never thrown into it and saying you have to be here for at least a few years, you have to do this. They were very, very open, right? I think it was my decision just to stay on and want to do things.
Right. So it wasn't like one moment, just like you just started doing things and things just started growing and
No, there's never one moment. Never one moment.
right.
But I naturally enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
Right.
Because I think going back, to, I guess, my upbringing, where food was a big part of it, I guess this got me where my 16, 17-year-old self imagined in a way, because when I was 16, 17, I worked in a professional kitchen and I didn't like it. I was like, oh, maybe I like it in the front. So this kind of put me in that place in terms of the front line of the business. It's working on the business rather than in kitchen.
Right. So now you've evolved into this kind of would you call it like a multi-brand group, right? So as you were sort of expanding, right, obviously you have, I think Nourish is one concept that is that Kenny Hill's coffee? Is that like different? Like what made you kind of like expand in this way? Why don't you just stick to the core style of the business? Or what's different between Nourish and like the original?
Okay, I'll speak across maybe all the brands if I can.
Yes.
As of probably last week, we're at 11 brands. So in terms of 11 different food and beverage brands, 3 or 4 of those are very, very closely tied. So for example, Kenny's Bakers is the flagship. It's the eponymous brand. It's what I would imagine most people know and what know us for, at least.
Right.
That's our bakery and restaurant.
Right.
It is full service dining. Although now we mix in full service with a bit of QR, like you're gonna have to QR ordering. So it's primarily full service dining. It's a full hot kitchen menu. We've got the coffee bar. We've got fresh baking. It's the whole thing.
Right.
It spans anywhere from 4,000 to now we've got like 70,000 square feet restaurants that can seat up to like 200 over people. And then you've got Kenny's Coffee Roasters, which we've rebranded. It started off as coffee. And a year ago, we wanted to add the word roasters in it because a year ago, we started roasting our own coffee. So now we buy coffee directly. We source directly from Brazil. We source directly from Indonesia. We source directly from Ethiopia and a few different countries. And we started roasting last year. And we wanted to put the name Roasters in the branding because it's a little bit similar to Kenny's Bakers, where we're talking about the bakers, where it starts with the bakers. They're the most important people in the business in terms of the craft and production of what we're known for, right? The baked products. So for the coffee side, the highlight is, yes, on the baristas who are there in outlets every day making coffees, but it starts from the roasters. It starts from when we receive the beans, and then the roasters just kind of turn into what we can then use. So for us, it starts with roasters because we don't farm, so you can't call it farmers because, well, technically it starts with farmers.
Right.
But we don't do that, so we start with the roasting. That is a smaller fit out. It's just a cafe. It's not a bakery. It's not a restaurant. It's a cafe.
Right.
Small fit out. You order at the counter. It's still specialty artisanal coffee.
Right.
And we've got all our baked goods there. We've got maybe some light hot food because we don't have a kitchen. Primarily coffee skewed.
Right.
And then a year and a half ago, we started this brand called Baked by Kenny's Bakers. So it's BAKED in big, in capital letters, underneath by Kenny's Bakers. So that is our version of a distilled format of Kenny's Bakers. So it's taking a 4, 5, 6,000 square feet restaurant, distilling it into 1,006, 1,008, 2,000 square feet format. So very small, very lean, and there's a lot of grab and go, there's a lot of takeaway. It's fast, it's easy, it's quick. We just opened our second baked at Menara UA last week. The first one is in TRX in Cebu, the department store, the concourse floor. So that's a different format. Nourish is whole foods. It's a lot of gluten-free, refined, sugar-free offering. So it's a lot of a healthier offering.
Right.
Very, very niche. So I don't think it's something that you can scale.
Right.
And then we've got My Humble Bowl, which is a pork-free and soon, maybe not so soon, but trying to be halal, roast up Asian restaurant. So we do roast up. Our chef is from Hong Kong, but he used to work in the Four Seasons London. Right. Not Four Seasons the hotel, but Four Seasons the Chinese restaurant. He used to do all the roast up there. He came in and joined us when we started it. Also about 5-6 years ago.
All right. So which one is it again?
It's called My Humble Bowl.
My Humble.
Currently only in Bukit Tengku, but it's opening in Bangsar in October, and we're looking for a few more sites next year. That's a very, very Malaysian. It's very pan-Asian. So it's got a lot of Asian favorites. It's got like a soup buntut from Indonesia. It's got a classic upmarket Maggi mee goreng. It's obviously got your roast duck rice, roast duck noodle soup, roast duck wonton. It's got roast chicken, salt baked chicken, and all that kind of stuff. It's got like Thai curries and local curries. Very Asian, basically.
Wow.
Okay, that's fact. And then we've got Flour Fire and Stone in PJ, which is where most of our roasting happens now.
Right.
So that's another bakery cafe outfit that's standalone. So it's only one. We've got Amazonas, which is a Latin American cuisine restaurant in TRX. We've got Kenil's Bistro, which is more of a moderner, contemporary version of Kenil's Bakers. That's at the Four Seasons. Right. We've got, I think something that opened last week is called Pergola. We haven't even launched it yet, but it's kind of running as it is. Right. That'll be multi-continental cuisine. It's got Asian, it's got Western, it's got a bar, it's got drinks.
Right.
It'll have live music.
Right.
I think I'm missing one, but yeah.
All right. All right. Oh, but I'm so, I actually was pretty amazed. I didn't know the song is like, for example, Amazonas. I didn't know it's under your group.
Oh, have you heard of that?
Yeah, I've seen it from the outside. It's literally right opposite the Canyo's Bigger. Yeah.
Right opposite.
Yeah. So, I didn't know. So it's like, I mean, as someone that obviously I'm running a company myself, how do you scale something that is like so different in concept, like in different areas? Because sometimes it's easy to scale when they all share some common themes, right?
Oh yeah,
right.
It's much easier.
Yeah.
I don't know why we put ourselves through that. So the question is, how do we do it, or why do we do it?
Both, I suppose. Like why and then I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with the why, it depends on the market. So for us, we're not, at least in the context of Kenil's Bakers brand, we're not a mass market brand. We can't be a lot of like the mass market / franchise bakery or coffee brands that we see all around. We can't have 200, 300, 400, 500 stores in one country. It's impossible.
Right.
Because our positioning is a little bit higher, price points are higher, the type of clientele that comes in is different. The size of the restaurants are very different. The menu is very, very different. So instead of opening 100, 200, 300, which we'll never be able to do in a country the size of Malaysia, or probably anywhere, we decided to stay smaller but open more focused outlets in specific areas, in the sort of nice neighborhoods and nice malls that we want to.
Right.
But beyond that, there was a lot of opportunity for growth in places where perhaps a Kenil's Bakers is already nearby, or perhaps in a market that is not directly the focus of a Kenil's Bakers. So with that, we can kind of input, I guess, new brands or concepts that we know commercially will do well, but it's not going to be a Kenil's Bakers. So that we come up with new brands, come up with new formats, new concepts that can serve that market.
I see. Yeah. Do you do something? Do you kind of start with the location? Like, okay, this is a great place to have some kind of F&B business, and this concept will work here. Is it something like that?
Yeah, I mean, we're pitched 100 locations a week, right? We say yes to 1 out of 30, 40, 50, literally.
Right.
Location is key. Then when we look at the location, we kind of see, okay, is this going to be a Kenil's Bakers? Nowadays, maybe not, because I think we've gotten to a point where we are in most places where we want to be.
Right.
And we don't want to push that limit, which starts diluting the sales of other outlets, other neighboring outlets, as well as diluting the brand if you're so commercially available. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people can say that we're kind of everywhere. We're not, but we try very hard to continue not being everywhere.
Right.
So now within the Klang Valley, we're not going to have too many more Kenil's Bakers outlets. If any, maybe 1 or 2 packs.
Right.
So then we start with the location. We see what kind of concept can do well here, and then we, I guess, conceptualize and ideate on it.
Right. You're some kind of like vision that ties all these different concepts together.
Well, I guess the overarching idea is within your umbrella group, you've got all these different brands, and each one of them serves a different purpose. Each one of them is its own brand that can stand on its own 2 feet in its own right, rather than having to all live off the back of, say, a more well-known brand like Kenil's Bakers. We want each one to be able to stand it on their own 2 feet, and it will take time because K3's been around for this year 11 years, and a lot of those brands are new, 2 or 3, even 4 years. So I think to scale, to grow, and to build its own following and have its own strong brand recognition will take a little bit more time. But the idea is, to have multiple brands that in their own right can scale.
Right. And as you obviously brand is super important to you as a company, right? Like, is there and you're presented with partnership opportunities all the time, right? Like, how do you choose your partners, and have you said no, and why do you say no sometimes?
Partnerships in terms of what exactly?
I don't know. Do you collaborate with other brands sometimes?
Oh, yeah, sure. So we do collaborations.
Right.
We started being a little bit more active in collaborations maybe a year or two ago.
Right.
But yeah, so having the brand at the center of every decision, we have to figure out where the brand stands in the market, who we're catering to, who we're catering for,
Right.
who we want to keep catering to. And then when we potentially look at brands or when brands look at us, we got to figure out whether or not that aligns. It doesn't mean that the brand is lesser or the brand is not as good. They could be bigger and better than us, but just catering to a different segment of the market. That's it.
Right.
So we have said no to many brands purely because of that.
But you don't believe you share the same market. Like,
Because I think from a collaboration or partnership perspective, either you don't share the market or what we're trying to position ourselves as a lifestyle bakery, restaurant brand, they don't have that same lifestyle component. They're just maybe a little bit more commercial. So if it's a purely commercial partnership,
right.
probably won't do it. I think it's got to make sense in terms of aligning with the lifestyle component, aligning with what we want to try to, how we want to position ourselves.
Right.
And then obviously you've got brands who are totally mass market.
Right.
They want to build partnerships on discount-driven models. They want to build things on that kind of, discounted-driven, financially kind of model campaigns. That's not what we wanted to.
Right. And when we say that lifestyle component, like how does it translate in terms of the how the cafe or bakery runs? Is it, when you say lifestyle, is it because it's design? Is it a very experienced thing? Is how it's designed? What's the tangible part of this lifestyle?
Well, I think the lifestyle part starts with what we're serving as a core.
Right.
So bakery products and coffee products are commoditized products. You find them everywhere.
Yeah.
People consume them every day, and fortunately enough, they are very habitual products. So it's something that every day you want a coffee, every day you need a coffee, every day you need or want bread. Not necessarily a croissant, but it could be a cake, it could be a pie, it could be a quiche. But generally, most days, it's very common, basic staples in your house. So that is us understanding that, okay, the food that we're serving primarily is already a part of people's lives. We just got to figure out how to insert ourselves in that conversation, because people every day are going to have coffee. Most people. Every day you're going to have coffee. Every day you're going to maybe wake up and have a slice of toast, or have a slice of cake before you sleep, or whatever it is. So we know that we don't have to work hard to get people to eat those kinds of products, but it means that you've got a sea of competitors who are already doing that. So we've, again, got to insert ourselves in that conversation. So lifestyle-wise, we're taking that part of a commoditized product and we're trying to put it in a setting where it feels homey, it's comfortable, it's familiar, so that you can come in frequently enough and not be too put off by it. So what we don't want to do is have really beautiful fit outs that are super trendy, and over the course of 1 year, the fade or the fad just kind of starts dying off because it's not as cool, not as trendy anymore. We want to build restaurants and bakeries that are timeless. We want to build that are familiar. You open on day 1 versus day 5, year 5 or year 10. It feels the same. It's comfortable, it's approachable, it's warm, it's home. So you can come in every day, literally, wearing whatever you want. You can come in an occasion with friends to celebrate a birthday.
Right.
You can come in your shorts and slippers and do some work. You can come with, your kids and just, have a small meal with your employee, with your colleagues or your boss, and have a more extensive celebration. We feel it caters, and we've seen that for the last 11 years. It caters to everything. And because of that, I think it can be ingrained a lot into the lifestyle component. We've just got to do a little bit better, and we can do a little bit better in terms of perhaps more lifestyle products, lifestyle merchandising, all that kind of stuff. But I think as a starting point, that's where the lifestyle component is done.
Right. Like how the space is designed to be warm and homey.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I've always been so fascinated because there are a lot of cafes in KL and all that, right? And I remember when our office is close to TTDI, so I know the one that you're referring to here. And there was always a queue. Right. I was like, wow, there's something magical about this place that how come people always curious, and I never could figure, because I'm not in this world, right? I never could quite figure it out, what that was. I mean, I like the food and all that. But what do you think that magic component is?
Well, it's a lot easier to get a queue when there weren't so many bakeries and cafes around. But now it's super competitive.
Right.
Which you can look at it through two lenses. So one is, not good, which is a lot of competitors. It's gonna make things hard. Sales are gonna drop. They're gonna steal your stuff. They're gonna drag prices higher or lower.
Right.
One is a good lens, which is, again, coming from a sports background. Competition is good. Competition is healthy. Competition makes you better because it's a forcing function for you to grow and to innovate and to think of ideas and not be lazy and complacent. So we have to look through it, through that second lens,
Right.
which is competition is good. It's healthy. Yes, it can kind of challenge you. It can maybe make things a little bit more difficult. But ultimately, if you work and you innovate and you, I guess, don't sit on your laurels and try to keep growing the brand and the offering, down the line, you're gonna be better off, I think.
Right. So competition is good, but by having, I mean, you said that, yes, it's harder to have a queue now, but I still see queues in Canning Hills Vegas. So I think
I
it's pretty
think
good.
primarily weekends always got queues.
Right.
I will say that because we've been so busy growing for the last 2 to 4 years, I think our menu in terms of selection and variety has taken a little bit of a backseat. But we're working on coming up with a whole new menu because within our industry, or our niche in the industry, which is cafe and bakery and all that kind of stuff, you need to keep innovating. You have to keep changing the menu to keep things fresh. If we're doing just Asian food, you don't have to. You can come up with, I guess, seasonal specials, but you don't have to change the menu as often because rice dishes, noodle, local cuisine, I can eat that all day, every day.
Right.
I can have chicken rice and laksa and char kway teow every day without thinking about it.
Right.
But for us, sandwiches and pastas and salads, you can't have that every day.
Right.
So we've got to keep things fresh. We've got to keep things new because that's kind of the idea of the cuisine, I guess.
I see. Right. So for someone walking to Canning Hills, I imagine that you want them to look at the menu and be like, I want to try this today.
So we have to work a little bit harder in keeping the menu fresh.
Right.
Same as bakery products. We've got to work harder in innovating our bake products. Different cakes, different pies, different tarts, and different strudels, of course, and all the like. Yeah,
Right.
we have to. Whereas if you're a mama, you don't have to change the menu for 50 years. Forever, you don't.
Yes, right. Yes. And also their menu is also pretty diverse. I also don't know what the mama
So yeah, but also that's ultimate Asian comfort food.
Right.
In the fact that you can eat that anytime, all day, every day.
Right.
For us, not as hard because we've tried dishes, we've tried things that we've seen abroad in Europe or the US or in Australia that culturally is a part of their diets in these regions. We bring it in here, it's just not accepted culturally. It's too different. So yeah, we have to localize the menu a little bit.
Right. Okay. And I mean, do you see yourself as a second-gen entrepreneur?
Well, technically, yeah, but it kind of all happened. Well, we're very new companies, 11 years. So not old.
Right.
I guess typically in your head, if you think second gen, it's a company that's been around for, at least 10, 15, 20 years and that's about start, usually.
Right.
But technically, I guess so.
Right. Because you so happen to, I guess, be the second generation of this business, but this business is in its first gen phase, something like that, right?
That's a hit. That's it.
No, actually, the interest I could never consider that. Most of the time, a second gen entrepreneur comes into a business that's built like fairly large, very stable already, and then the let's say children is taking over the company, but you're talking about something that's existed maybe 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Naturally, yeah. I guess the clear definition of that would be that it's something that's at least been around. It doesn't have to be fairly large or established, but at least it's been around enough where you can hand over something.
Right.
This kind of all happened at the same time.
Right.
So I see that as I see that as a huge benefit.
Right.
A huge benefit. I think if this were to come down after a long time, by then you've got so many more policies and SOPs and procedures that you either have to learn to adopt, or if you're coming in and you've got a mindset of wanting to change all these things, it's very hard to change.
Right.
Whereas if you've come into it and it's in that building phase and you're introducing systems and procedures and introducing new ways of reworking the business, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
As I think everyone's a lot more flexible.
Right.
You can make the changes faster, and also people can adopt it easier. There's less resistance to it.
Right.
So I think it's a bit of a blessing, because I've got a lot of friends, or at least I know a lot of people also who come into family businesses, and it's like large conglomerates or large corporations. They pretty much have no say, in the first few years, right? No say. And I would hate that.
No, yeah. So yeah, I hear that a lot too, right? Because they build these systems and it's incredibly stable and all that, and
Also it's very hierarchical.
right.
So I don't think I would do well with that. Yeah.
Right. Whereas you're actually entering a business that's still going through its growth stage, right? So things are still moving, and right.
Things are still moving a lot. Things are changing a lot.
Right.
And that's fun, challenging, but you learn a lot in that process.
Right.
You learn.
Right. And in this environment, like when you're trying to introduce a new idea, a new system, is it still easy to do?
It's still okay. I think the HQ team is flexible and small enough where we can implement changes where we want to, but also at least experienced enough to be able to come back with ideas and suggestions, or at least a reason why we shouldn't, or a reason why we should, and then the experience of leading their respective teams in adopting those changes.
Right.
It's currently a good blend, I would say. Yeah,
Right.
An okay blend. Yeah.
Okay, but right. So people are still open-minded, and it's still right.
Yeah,
Right.
We have to be, because we're super non-hierarchical. Of course, we've got our levels of designations within the company, but I think we are very we try to be as flat line as possible in terms of organization. We try to go on the grounds and speak to the restaurant team, but also in the HQ, when you've got your heads of departments or your managers, assistants, and below, we try to go down a few layers, speak to them directly to get ideas and feedback and suggestions. Skip level, right? Skip level conversations.
Right.
Just so you don't always hear from the same people.
Right. Yeah, actually, this is a mark of entrepreneurial culture. When you're in skip level, communication is very common.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Even in hierarchy, I encourage it all the time. Like, you don't have to follow the hierarchy.
No. Things will take too long. Too slow.
Yes. It then takes too long to store, and sometimes the communication gets diluted, or it changes and all that, right? Yeah. So, right. So one thing, when I speak to a lot of people, especially a lot of young people, but it's the same for my generation. I'm older, and like the new Gen Z entering the market. I always find that when you ask people and they say, I want to start a business, one of the most common things out here is, I want to start a cafe. Very super common, even from my time, right? And I believe it's coming from this. A lot of people sort of romanticize this idea that starting a cafe is so cool and so relaxing. I don't know, it's something like that, right? They just like it. But what do you think are some things that they are underestimating from this?
First of all, terrible idea.
Correct.
But don't do it. I think people underestimate the amount of work that goes into it.
Right.
Because when you think of maybe building out a cafe space, and I think most of the time you start with a shop lot, right? It's 1,600, 1,800 square feet, small shop lot. A lot of people underestimate the amount of work, but also the costs and the recurring costs, the operational costs that go into it. You think, okay, cost of goods, your labor, your rent, maybe utilities. That's it. In between, there's a lot that come through the cracks that are just unforeseen. So I think costs build up. And what a lot of people will underestimate is how hard it is to attract and retain customers.
Right.
Because it's so competitive, and you're coming up fresh, and so are 100 other people. Right. What makes your place so special? So I think a lot of people don't really think about the commercial viability of it. They think, oh, my food's great. We're gonna have service with a smile, good location, and that's good enough. But Very often it's not. I think you've got to also know how to market yourself well. You've got to know how to brand yourself well. Don't open a cafe, don't open a restaurant. You have to learn how to build a brand, because that is a little bit long lasting. That has a meaning. Easier said than done. That takes time. But those are some of the things people underestimate. It's not clean and cool and fun. It's very sweaty. It's very physically as well as non-physical. Can't think of the word. It's very sweaty. It's very dirty. It's long, grueling hours. You're working ultimately when people are not working, right? It's weekends. It's public holidays. It's lunch hour. It's dinner hour. Those are should be your peak periods.
Right.
So it's a lot of time. A lot of time.
Right. I think a lot of people, one reason why they probably underestimate, because when they think of running a cafe, most people imagine like, oh, they see the front of the cafe. They see like the nice acoustic music, a small crowd enjoying your coffee, But the what happens behind that, whether it's the kitchen or preparing to run that, it's like so much.
Yeah. And a lot of people underestimate or are not aware of the fact that it's a live 24/7 365 business. There is no escape.
Right.
There is no escape. It's 24/7 365 because your retail, your food, right? People, it's a daily business. Of course, some people close 1 day a week, 2 days a week, whatever. But even on those days, there's stuff that needs to be attended to.
Right.
Operational challenges, because it's such an operationally led business.
Right.
That takes a buck ton.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So it's like, right. So most open early, close late, right, and they can run 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Right. It just keeps going.
Right.
How about the reverse? What are things that are easier than it looks? A lot of people think it's hard, but it's actually easier than
it looks. Nothing.
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 Literally nothing. How about like say designing the menu, stuff?
No, that's hard because you can't just think of, okay, I'm really good at cooking these dishes. This is what people want, and put like 20, 30 items on a dish.
Right.
A lot of it comes down to, yes, menu engineering, understanding your costs, and a lot of it is consumer behavior and psychology. So when we want to design menus, obviously there's certain ways we want to position certain things. There's certain areas where we want to put certain things on the menu so that people are more likely or more inclined to buy it. And then how you have your pricing strategy is a little bit different as well. So that's kind of going into it a little bit more in detail. But in terms of just coming up with a simple menu, it looks easy. But if you go into the science of it, that also is a little bit more challenging.
Right.
If you want to do it properly, yeah.
Right. Nothing.
Yeah. Nothing's easy.
Right. Okay. So I want to kind of like segue a bit to like sort of like seeing it as a business, right? Not just like the experience of the cafe, as in the financial side of the business. So as you scale, and I think you scaled quite quickly recently.
The last 4
5 years, right? How do you balance scaling fast and still, maintaining healthy bottom lines and stuff like? Because it's quite like a capex heavy kind of business to scale. I mean, for those who don't understand what capex means, that means you have to put in a lot of money up front before the business can actually run. Yeah. How do you balance that decision?
Very, very, very hard. I think it starts with having a good understanding of your economics, obviously. You have to understand that net profits aren't ultimately what you want to look at, especially when you're growing fast. I think cash flow is super important. So you got to make sure you've got an eye on cash flow. Otherwise, you will run into troubles, especially if you're growing very, very, very fast. And we're fully owned privately, 100%. So outside investment. So because of that, we've also got to be very prudent and very disciplined in spending, because every cent that goes out is our money, ultimately. But of course, if you invest this money, yes, you have to be prudent also. But we have to just balance your costs and keep an eye on it. And now, especially with food costs going through the roof, we've just got to rework menus, we've got to rework recipes, not in the fact that we're cutting costs per se, but we're just re-engineering things that make things at least a little bit healthier. For example, if you've got an item that's skyrocketing, you're not going to cut costs by maybe getting a cheaper alternative. We'd rather just remove that dish from the menu.
Right.
So that dish is no longer available. Right. And we just wait till prices stabilize and come back to where it should be before we add back on, even if it's a very popular dish.
Right.
So you gotta know how to play around with your menu. You've got to understand how to play around on renovation costs. You've got to keep an eye on that very, very strictly, because renovations can really kill you. I mean, it can blow you through the roof. Right? All those things, lah. Right? Yes. Right. Yeah.
You say that, but the space looks like it's I mean, you invested pretty well in the renovation. Like, looks really nice.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of just the renovation process, choosing the right contractors, and we tender out all our projects.
Right.
So whenever we want to have a renovation, we're not anything special, but typically you want to tender out a project. Especially we've got a number of projects lined up, which we do because we have like a yearly pipeline of what we're going to be opening. We'll tender out multiple just to get a much, much, much better deal. We try to source directly for a lot of items. All that from bottom line perspective helps. And then a lot of it is just being very disciplined in how you spend. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And how about the team and culture of the company? I'm really curious. So obviously you run, you have what? So you said 10 brands, 11 brands, right?
I think, yeah, as of last week, should be 11 F&B brands. Then we've got the catering and events brand, which is new, and then the manufacturing brand.
Right. So that different kinds of businesses. It's a growing business, growing team. I imagine the team is also fairly young and growing.
Yeah.
Oh, so that, yeah. Growing mentally, I don't know. And but how would you describe the culture of the team now?
I hope they're not the same. Well, fast paced, obviously, which some people say that's not the time. But yeah, very fast paced. I think we're all wanting to do a lot of things. So now the culture is very, I would think, it is still quite casual and relaxed. We don't want it to be a very, very stiff corporate type office. So next year, so before the podcast started, I mentioned that we've got one unit in section 51 where we've got the office factory lot.
Yeah.
We're expanding that. So we're going to do a renovation where we're tearing down the walls to expand it. So it'll be maybe 40% bigger, and it's across 2 floors. So all 3 floors are going to be pushed out at least 40-50%. So that's going to create a lot more space. And the office is on the top floor. So that's going to create a lot more space for the office, because as it is, we don't have enough space.
Right.
We're going to redesign the whole thing to make it more organic. So timber floors and a lot of landscape and plants and nice furniture and maybe beanbags as well, and make things comfortable. So now it's very stiff, it's very corporate. So that's the outlook of it, because I think that the work environment impacts the working attitude, the working kind of ambiance.
Oh, yeah.
People's spirit and mentality.
Yes.
Mentality when they're working.
Yeah.
So I think the environment you're in is very important, which is why next year I want to really look into that and just making it feel like it's a creative space, because ultimately F&B is and should be a creative business. You need to have ideas,
Right.
and you need your people to have ideas.
Right.
So yeah, I want to redesign that space to be more creative. But back to the culture now, it's it's a lot more organized than it used to be. So I think people are very structured, people are very organized, but at the same time, we always promote creativity. We always promote having good ideas. And it's a culture where I think people are very comfortable in, because again, we don't have very strict office rules. We don't have very strict in-office kinds of rules and regulations. Right. I mean, we try to control things to a certain aspect, but we want people to be able to do their best work. So we allow some level of hybrid working, especially across departments.
Right.
We allow ideas to fester and build upon, and we want people to be entrepreneurial. I think that's super important. We don't want people to be fixated. Okay, this is a new memo, come out, let's follow it. This is something, let's follow it. We want them to think, right? We want them to be able to contribute. Yeah, so that's something we try to promote.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's fascinating to me. So I caught some keywords here. So obviously it's very fast paced. It's entrepreneurial. At the same time, they're structured and use the word comfortable. So they're kind of like comfortably uncomfortable.
Oxymoron. Actually, yeah, I love that, but come to your comfort.
Yeah.
But I think it depends on the department.
Right.
Some I'll see a lot more structured and boring.
Right.
For example, your finance, and we call it HR people and culture department. So they're maybe a little more structured, but for the marketing teams, marketing and creative, for some of our operational teams, we need them to be entrepreneurial, because they're the lifeblood. essentially. I mean, in a way, the frontliners. Obviously, operations are clearly a frontliners, but the marketing team, we also go on the ground, be in cafes, be in restaurants, live and breathe it, understanding your customers, and think as a business owner, what would you want to do? How would you want to market the restaurant? Think of different angles.
Right. Do you have any any company rituals or like like leadership habits that you have to kind of maintain a certain culture?
We have core values.
Right.
I don't think we push that enough. But I think in some way, shape, or form, over the last 4 or 5 years, a lot of people have adopted a lot of those values. But one of them in particular is something that I think is practiced not religiously or intentionally, but it's become a way of how we work in how we source and retain and speak to people. I think one key hiring principle that we have that helps shape and retain and mold the culture is you have to hire people, or you want to hire people that, for lack of a better word and without wanting to be fancy, people that are like nice. That's the easiest.
Nice.
Like even nice or kind. Obviously, they've got to be able to do the work.
Right.
But we don't want, or Steve Jobs says, brilliant jerks. So we don't want brilliant jerks, or we don't want people who are very good in a role, but someone who will come in and kind of stir the pot, or people who will maybe rub some people off a different way. We need that environment to be healthy. We don't need everyone to be best friends, but we just want each other to be able to work together. And I think you can only achieve that if people genuinely like each other. A bit like a football team. You want them to be able to spend time outside of work. So one core question we ask, especially for senior roles, is could I hang out with this person outside of working hours? Could I get a drink? Could I go for a coffee with them after working hours? Can I see myself on a holiday with this person? And if you can't, depending, right? Typically we won't hire someone if we know culturally they're not going to get along.
Right.
I think that's super important, because then the more people that you bring in who fit that mold of this person can do the work, but as a bonus, this person's great to hang out with, really good energy, really good spirits. People around them are always coming into work and I guess feeling better after interacting with this person. So over time that compounds, and then you just get an office full of people who are just great to be around.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Because I mean, we've experienced this ourselves, right? Like you hire someone and they look like they're great at their job, but it affects the people around them, right?
Yeah.
Like the team, right? So it ends up being like a net negative.
Yeah, it's a negative.
Yeah, right. So they by themselves seems like a positive, but it's like a net negative to the company. Right?
Well, at least for our business, I think that's important. If you're in maybe software engineering, maybe not as important, because you need these really amazing coders and engineers who aren't always super buzzable, but you just need them to be able to do their chair work. I think it depends on the industry.
Yeah, that actually I find quite interesting. So we've had like teams like that, talk about developers and stuff, and sometimes maybe the nature of their job, they're not so naturally sociable people, right? So they're not trained to be sociable, and they're very direct. And so some people might find them like a bit uncomfortable to interact with, but among themselves they're great.
Yes.
Because that's how
It's their little bubbles.
Yes. Because culturally, that's how they speak to each other. So
Yeah. So yes, again, it varies on the industry, which is why your leadership values, your core values change depending on what industry or business you're in.
Right. You obviously have you have a pickleball business, right? That's also one of your brands.
It's not. No, that's not.
It's not. Oh, okay. That's like an independent one. Yeah. Right. Right. That's something you're driving directly, is it?
That's outside of the business. I'm doing that with a partner who is an operational partner. So
got it.
I'm not so much in the day-to-day, because my day-to-day is focused on, I guess, the bulk of Kenneos. So he runs the day-to-day, but I'm involved in a sort of long-term sort of business development, overseeing the whole thing and ideas and expansion kind of perspective.
Right.
And I help out also with the branding and marketing.
Right. Did your kind of I mean, at the start of this conversation, you mentioned that you love sports. Like, did any of this kind of lend to how you decided to start like a pickleball?
Yes, it was half opportunistic and half passion project. So passion in that at the time, I played a lot of pickleball, and so did my partner, because growing up I played junior competitive tennis. I stopped when I was 16. And then I didn't just stop competitive tennis. I stopped playing tennis for a while. I mean, full stop. When I went for college, university, when I came back, stopped for a good 4 or 5 years. Came back, played a little bit more, started getting into it, played paddle, and then pickleball came about as well. And I felt there was a commercial opportunity. So I was playing a lot, yes, but also a commercial opportunity came about to open up attached to one of our current restaurants, Flower Fire and Stone, in PJ. So that's the first pickle park, which is the name of it. That opened in mid-January. So that's a pickle venue. It's got obviously the F&B from Flower Fire and Stone. It's got showers, and we've got coaching and all that kind of stuff. And a week and a half ago, our second venue opened, called The Lawn by Pickle Park. So it's a different format, but still a pickleball venue with F&B, which is Pergola that I mentioned earlier. So that's why it's kind of soft launch without launching.
Right. Where's this other one? Like,
That's at Luni Tropicana.
okay, right.
So across from Tropicana Golf Course.
Right. The lawn by Pico Park.
Yes, it's called the lawn because it's literally in a lawn. It's surrounded by grass and park benches and trees and nature, and yeah, it's literally a lawn.
Right. It's quite interesting, right? So it's kind of like it's almost the same thing. Like there's one core brand, and then like there's some evolution.
Oh
of
yeah,
it, right?
exactly.
Right. I played in Pico Park before. I thought it's like a really nice place.
thank
So yeah, awesome. Right? And I love the fact that obviously it's attached to the cafe, and
Yes.
after the game you can guys chill out there.
Yes, that's the idea. It's got to be, again, lifestyle. It's got to be social. We're not trying to build amenities or sports facilities. We're trying to build a hub, right? A wellness, a lifestyle center where you can come and play and work out and sweat and shower and chill and work and drink and everything,
Right.
all in one place and socialize.
Right. Has anything you learned from your sports medicine days contribute anything?
No, but I think not directly.
Not really. Right.
I think the approach to thinking, analytical thinking, breaking things down, probably, yeah. So it's your approach to, because you in school or in university we get these case studies in terms of what a patient is facing. These are sort of the pathologies, or these are the sort of ailments that this person has, XYZ, blah blah blah. You do a study, you research. Those are the theoretical, and then you come up with your own hypotheses, or you come up with maybe treatment methods you think you want to work on, and it's almost like A/B testing.
Right.
So like, okay, this doesn't work, let's try this. This doesn't work, let's try this. A bit like going to a doctor's office, right? They give you medicine, or you go to any chiro or physio or whatever. They will give you certain medicines or certain treatment methods, and then if it doesn't work, you try something else.
Right.
So it was a lot of structured analytical thing, very empirical, and I think that has become a habit.
Right. It's taught you it's more of like a scientific process.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound more fancy than it is. It's not that fancy. Yeah, but it is. Yeah.
Right. No, but actually, I find that if more people kind of understood this process, a lot of businesses will run a lot better, in my opinion.
Maybe, but also I think it's still important not to be overly analytical, and sometimes you've got to follow gut instinct.
Yeah.
So it's finding that balance, right, with every business, because you won't, or often enough, you will not have all the data. You'll have maybe 50, 60, 70%, then you got to make a decision.
Right. It's still to follow some sense of intuition, right?
Yes,
So, right,
yes. I think you definitely need intuition.
Right.
You need a good feel.
Right. If you could go back in time and give yourself a note, when you're say 23 or when maybe not 23, at that moment when you're sitting in the hall, saying that I don't belong in this place, like what note would you stick back to yourself?
Well, I already had the thought of quitting, so I can't slip the note and say
You should quit.
you should make that decision now, because I kind of did. I would say, within that context of the time, just really, really, learn as much as you can, and it's more of a philosophy life thing. Really enjoy the moment for the next 2 years, because this is all gonna go away after 2 years.
Right.
You're not gonna have this university student life anymore. After this, it's gonna be the workforce. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be difficult. So enjoy while you can.
Right.
So that's not so much career advice, but that's life advice within the context of where I was that really that day.
Right. Actually, you landed on something interesting. It's not on this list of questions I wanted to ask, but this debate about like, should I go to university, should I not go to university? A lot of people are questioning like what I get out of university. So no, I kind of get it, because people always say that there's a lot of stuff I studied, I didn't necessarily use it. What's the point? Of course, for most jobs, you still need that degree to get that job. But just from how useful was that experience? Like.
How useful was the university?
Yes. Not just that, you other than you getting that piece of paper to get the job.
I actually didn't even get the piece of paper because I graduated just before COVID. So the graduation was postponed.
Okay.
So I came home to Malaysia and they had the graduation ceremony in the Netherlands. And I never went. So I never got it. Yeah. That sucks.
Right.
But what was the main benefit or experience of going to university?
Yeah, maybe let me tweak this question a bit. If someone's in university today, right, what do you think they should try to get out of it other than just trying to study hard and get good grades?
First of all, I can't speak on the behalf of all employers because I want to say grades aren't important because it's not important to us, not important to me. I don't think grades really reflect someone's work ethic or intelligence all the time. Although in school I was studying a lot and I studied too much. That's probably why I can say this. I don't think good grades always equate to a certain level of intelligence or, again, how successful you're going to be in the future. It's got zero bearing on how successful you're going to be. I think it helps probably for Malaysian companies. I don't know. It probably helps with some job placements now if you're with a certain GPA. Probably. Again, I can't speak on their behalf. But I would tell them that get as many friends as you can. I think a strong social network's good. But also in that, I would say choose and curate your friend group very importantly. I would say it's not as important as you think to be super popular in university or super popular in school. When you're young, you want to be really popular, have a lot of friends, go to all the parties.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Right.
But don't let that lead you to making bad life choices.
Right.
Because I have also seen people who are great, very smart, driven, sharp, but then you hang around with the wrong people, it pulls you into this different circle.
Oh, yeah.
And you start adopting all these different habits that's hard to pull yourself out of. So in that, you've got to be, I guess, a little bit careful. Just be careful in that. Building up a social network is super important because I think a social life is a very good indicator of a happy life, a good life, and also long-term happiness throughout. And I would say it's a bit maybe oxymoronic to what I said earlier, but don't overemphasize good grades. Don't stress and kill yourself over needing to always have really, really good grades.
Right.
And I think by the time a lot of these graduates come out in the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, hopefully more and more companies see it that way as well.
Right.
Where you don't have so much emphasis on someone either having good grades or having a tertiary education at all.
Right.
I think that's really not important. Unless, of course, you're studying degrees that are needing that are professional.
Right.
So it's your lawyers, it's your engineers, it's your doctors. That's super important. I think studying hard is very, very important. But if you're doing things that are a little bit more open-ended, things that are a little bit more abstract, business, marketing, and all that kind of stuff, don't kill yourself over needing to always have really, really good grades. The most important thing is having a good social network, learning things,
Right.
Developing your own personal skills, and starting to taste and feel what you could potentially be interested in the workforce when you come out. Because a lot of people study, they come out and what do I do?
Right.
So I think if you can during university, try different things, join different clubs, try different hobbies, try different passions, just to experiment.
Right. That's a place to experiment, make friends.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Yeah, you should. I guess you should try to get good grades, but you don't. You do your best, but if you don't kill yourself over it or something like that.
No, don't kill yourself for a break. I regret studying way too hard for SPM and to be honest.
Okay, but why did you do it though? Like, was it an expectation, or you just built like that?
I wanted for myself, to be honest, to do really, really, really well.
Right.
Right. Yeah. It was more of a personal thing,
Right.
which maybe subconsciously is a societal thing because you grow up going through school, right, being told that you have to have very good SPM results, good A-level results, or good secondary education results, in order to go to a good university, right? That's what get a good job, whatever.
Right.
I wouldn't have studied as hard as I did.
Right. Right. Right.
It's nice as it's bragging rights now. So
Right.
that's all it is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a fascinating topic. But I was terrible at school, by the way. Like,
Oh yeah.
very bad. But I love reading though. This is the weird thing. Like, I really love reading. I was very much into computer science when I was very young. This is before the internet. I was like the weird kid who was reading computer books and doing software development. Before the internet was mainstream. But when I go to school, I didn't bother listening to class. It's bad. Yeah. So I kind of turned out okay, but sometimes it makes me think about it could have gone terribly wrong too.
Maybe you study, got a lot better grades, you could have done something totally different.
Yes, you never know, right? Yeah. It's just
Yeah, that's another philosophy. No regrets.
yeah. You know what? It is what it is.
It is what it is. Because if you're happy the way you are now, it ultimately means all the decisions you've made leading up to this point have been to your benefit.
Yes, yes. Do you have some kind of definition of what success means to you?
Success, I think, equates a lot to obviously personal self fulfillment. I think that's super important. You have to be, happy is a word that's thrown out a lot, which is why I was thinking quite a bit because I didn't want to use that word.
Yeah, no.
But I think ultimately you have to be happy and grateful and contented with what you're doing, because sure, we only have one life, and you got to enjoy what you can, but also because work, and I guess I'm equating it to work plays such a big part. It consumes so much time. If you hate what you're doing, it makes life very, very difficult. I understand people's situations where they have to do stuff that they don't necessarily love out of maybe financial incentives or because they can't get any other job or something. Sure, that's fine. But I think success, for the most part, equates to overall happiness. So it could be in the workplace, it could be at home. It's where you find it. It's how you give life meaning. And I think wealth as one part, which is one part of the equation, is not always tied into money, but it's also wealth of time. So it's wealth. It's how it's freedom in choosing how you want to spend your time. So I guess that's one good way to put it. One definition of success is how able you are to do whatever you want, whenever you want. So in a way, you are in control of your own time. Right. So technically, I allowed myself to be here today, for example. I could allow myself to go on a holiday tomorrow for a day. No, you could, right? So I think that's a side of wealth, not necessarily numbers driven.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I think if people can look for that, meaning they're in control of their time, or at least in a workplace, you're happy with what you're doing, you're happy at home, good family, and generally that should be simple enough, I think.
Right. Yeah, I agree. There are a few. Yeah. No, I agree. Because I think when you think about success in the context of a career, especially, a lot of people would think it's like financial, like financial wealth and all that. But like the time, having freedom of time is very underrated, I think.
Freedom of time is very underrated. Yeah, I know that, and I know that a lot more now because with the pickleball courts, I see these people coming in at 1 p.m. on a Monday, 11 a.m.
Yeah, how do they do that? Like,
So we must be happy.
Do they have a job? Are they like working remotely? Like really serious?
So in their definition, they would be success. In this definition, they would be successful because they have that freedom of time.
Right.
And you're not forced to do something.
Right.
You're not forced to show up somewhere sometime and you're no control. Right. Anyway.
Yeah. Right. And also, I also understand why you were sort of hesitating a little bit to use the word happy just now, because, and the reason why I hesitate to, I use it, but I hesitate a bit, is because I find people often, when they think of the word happy, they think that they're laughing and smiling all the time, but it doesn't really mean that. Like, it can be kind of like it's a very quiet inner happiness where you kind of feel like, I like this, but they're going to be painful moments. But I kind of like this. It sounds like I struggle with that word, but happy is the easiest word, but very easily misunderstood.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So what's next for like Kenny Hughes? Like, do you have any new concepts or products coming up, or like things that you're secretly working on that you're excited about?
Well, yeah, I mean, secretly working on, we've got a few really exciting projects that's like 5 years down the road, 3 years, 4 years down the road. That's kind of cool stuff. This year, next year, we've got our sort of physical pipeline kind of there already. We've got a few more locations opening up this year.
Nice.
We opened in Penang earlier this year, obviously. We would love to look into JB next year. So Johor Bahru will be a very interesting market for us next year. And outside of that, it's a lot of physical locations in different spots. So physical growth is always going to happen. New products, yes. In terms of the outlets, new menus, new bakery products, yes. New coffee products, yes. But something we're working on a lot more is retail products. So packaged products that we can sell retail in physical outlets. For example, from a coffee standpoint, we came up with instant coffees that's made in Japan. So it's instant coffee that can dissolve in cold water or cold milk. So cold beverages, you just shake it or stir it, it dissolves and it creates a really nice latte. You're using milk or
Dissolves in cold milk.
Yeah. Or water. It needs a bit more work to stir it.
Right.
But that's one example. We're coming out with coffee capsules and pods and drip bags. And then yes, we do have new brands coming up. We are renovating the factory, expanding the factory, renovating the office. So quite a few things, but I think the bulk of where the excitement is still physical expansion, because that's 99% of revenue. That's 99% of what we do. Right. All these new products are just how we get there as bonus. So physical locations in new regions would be exciting.
Right. And if you do have any financial constraints or operational constraints, is there one out of the box business that will really excite you in terms of like starting?
Oh, to start something?
Yeah. And you go, oh God, look, I would love to do it.
It's dangerous because I have a bit of a sickness. Actually, I told myself this like 3 days ago. When like the day before, I was telling people, no, we have to start. We have to do these. Let's be disciplined. Let's be controlled. Focus. Right. A lot of how you achieve success is not always taking on things. It's removing a lot of things.
Right.
So sometimes when you remove a lot from your plate, you add to the quality of, or that's life in general. When you remove things from life, you add to the quality. Right. So the same for business. Don't try to do everything, because there's always that say you can do everything you want. You can do anything you want, but you can't do everything.
Right.
So you got to choose. You got to focus.
Right.
And then next day, all these opportunities came about. I was like, oh, this is, we should do this. This is really cool. So it's hard to juggle. Instead of new things I want to do, I'd rather not say. But yeah, there are a few things I can maybe say it off camera. But
you do, I suppose. That means you have
lot.
Right. Like completely out of like the F&B world type, is it?
Yeah, but I think they would all still touch on consumer retail. I think they would still touch on B2C businesses, retail, commerce. That I like that.
Right.
I like right. I don't like B2B stuff. I don't like that kind of stuff. I like physical products.
Physical products.
Physical commerce products.
Right. Selling to the consumer.
Yeah.
Right. And I suppose it comes from the DNA of the company. It does seem like you do understand your target market quite well, which is why you do expand so successfully. For someone who is, I'm going to have the last two questions here. So for someone who is, right now, they're like you, they're sitting, whether in university, looking at their class, and I feel like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I can't see myself doing this for 10 years, or someone, not so easy to quit for something, right? Or someone in a company, I guess in a job it's easier to say that, but if they're working in a company, they look around and say, I can't deal with this, I don't belong here. But what advice would you give them? Like to the university student and to the person who's working in a company?
Yeah, for the company, I think we've got to be first in positions where we bring in people into the team, technically employers. We got to have those conversations sometimes, like a few weeks ago with someone who's been with us for maybe 3-4 years, and he said, I really want to do something on my own. I want to not essentially build a business, but at least try to freelance or try to have control of my own time and my own schedule with the skill sets that I've taken or learned over the last 3-4 years. So when we're in that position, all we can do is just give them a blessing. We can't handcuff them, to the pole and say, no, you've got to be here forever, because they've contributed, they've done stuff, and you've just got to be open-minded to it. And for people who are in that position where you say, oh, I've kind of contributed a lot in this company, I want to take those skills and try to take that leap. If you don't have too many commitments, if you feel that it's worth the risk and you can go for at least 2-3 months without seeing much of that come back in terms of returns, then you should try it. Because I think, especially if you're young, you should try it if you can. If you've got a lot of commitments, if you've got a lot of things that you have to look after, then it's a little bit harder to jump ship totally. You want to try to maybe balance. And I'm talking about from the perspective of someone who wants to quit, like you said, and maybe do something new, like start a business. So I'll speak in that context. You've got to juggle, you've got to manage your time. If you're in a position where you cannot quit, keep in the job, but when you're out of working hours, you've got to keep working on your own craft, keep improving yourself, and try to start very, very, very small. But don't use the fact that you have a full-time job as an excuse, because you have weekends, you've got nights. Just means spend less time going out to the movies, spend less time having fun if you need, because you just have to, I guess, plant that seed for a few years. And then if things work out well, and they might not, but if things work out well, then you might have the opportunity where this becomes a full-time thing, and then you've got full control. You just got to make that sacrifice ultimately in the workplace. In school, if you want to quit, well, I'm not a parent, but you should probably have a conversation.
Just don't call them at 1 a.m. So.
Yeah, don't call that 1 a.m. Have that conversation, be open-minded, but I think be prepared to give alternatives, because as parents, I mean, I'm not a parent, but I imagine they essentially want the best for their child. So if you're saying, hey, I want to quit, and your mom or dad goes, yeah, what are you going to do next? You say, I don't know, that's a very bad sign. So at least come with ideas, come with things you want to do. And don't be hasty. I think, think about it long and hard enough, because once you quit, I don't know if you can join back. Have plan Ds, have options.
Right.
Yeah.
And no, I really like that. Like, I mean, like, if you're, you're speaking to a parent or someone that obviously has a stake in your decision, it's always good to not just say, I don't like this, I want to stop it, but what's next?
Yeah, what's next?
Right.
What's next? You can't just bum around.
Yeah. And you can't expect someone else to sort of think on your behalf also, in some sense, right? Yeah. All right, I'm gonna end with like a easy question. I don't know if it's an easy question or a hard question, but what's one underrated menu item you think more people should try when they're at Kenny-Go's?
Still, what's our most expensive item?
You need to drive that bottom line.
What's the one underrated menu? Well, we're changing in a couple months, so if I say now, it might not be around.
Oh, is that right?
10 people come, but let's see. Maybe a bakery product. Underrated. It's hard because everything moves. Actually, at Flour Fire and Stone, something I quite like is we've got this. We don't have it at Kenner's Baker's outlets, but we have it at Flour Fire and Stone. We've got a lemon. It's got lemon curd and there's a chocolate cake. So it's like a chocolate mousse cake with lemon curd on top, like meringue. That's quite nice.
Right.
Okay, I'll do one more for Kenner's Baker's. Underrated. Roast chicken spud. Lasagna. I ordered that a lot.
Lasagna.
Actually, no, we've got a new item. Sorry, I keep bouncing around because it's so hard. Okay, if you go to Kenya's Bakers on the Park at TRX, Kenya's Bakers on the Park, the Exchange TRX, we've got a dish which is a spicy chili con carne with homemade cornbread, and it's only available there. That's pretty good.
Oh, is there any reason why it's only available there?
Yeah, actually all the new outlets have outlet exclusives that's only available there.
Oh.
Yeah. The older ones don't, but we will introduce those soon. So you can only find it in those specific outlets. For example, Georgetown in Penang, it's got its own specials. Bayan Lepas in Penang, it's got its own specials. Elmina, Shah Alam, TRX. Those are the 4 newer ones. Yeah, those
Right.
have its own specials.
Right. Again, it comes back to this, like, I love this whole concept. There's like a core brand, a core concept, and every branch has some kind of twist or personality to it, right?
Because I don't like the word chain. So when people say you're a chain of this, it's not particularly true, because I've used an example before where a chain they're all identical for the most part. So I like to say collection. We're a collection of Bayview restaurants because each one has its own identity. The design is a little bit different, although it follows a theme. They're all a little bit different depending on the neighborhood and the people we're serving. And the menus, 90% are the same, but there's small differences. So that's why it's a collection.
Right.
Oh, and also the uniforms. The staff uniforms are different because on the back of the waiters and waitresses, the front of house, is a illustration, a hand-drawn illustration of that outlet on the back of their shirts.
Wow.
So that's different too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, it's so personalized.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because we're artisanal, we can't be copy-paste.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Although it's a lot easier to be.
Thank you, Kai, for
Thanks, Derek.
for joining us and being so open with like I said, I'm a big fan. As I can see, I've seen I've been to different Canning Hills outlets and stuff, and to kind of understand, I guess, the thought process behind how all these outlets are the way they are. It's also really interesting to me. So great, thanks again.
Yes, thanks for having me. Thanks for the questions.
Thanks. All right, thanks for hanging out with us and getting to the end of the episode. If you like this, follow us or hit the subscribe button. It will help us bring on more amazing guests and makes the whole show better for you. So thanks again and see you in the next one.